Addy soldiers. It is humid as hell outside, so my hair is doing whatever the hell it wants to, and I gave myself a paper cut earlier filming book talk videos, so one of the hazards of being a book blogger. I've also knocked this Coke can over twice today, so fingers crossed I don't do it again, or at least don't do it again on camera. Usually I would save my wrap-ups for the first week of the new month, but June is Pride Month, and I want to make sure that I am, you know, I was gonna say straight out the gate, but you know, wavy out the gate. In that my first video in June was queer book related, so we are going to do a monthly wrap up for all I read in May. I somehow managed to read 11 whole books. Oh my god, I am out of my reading slump and it feels so good. Do I still have 68 unread books on my TBR shelf? Yes. We're not gonna talk about that. All the books I read this month, I had a great time with. As you will see, some of them I had like a very highbrow world literature kind of enjoyment out of them, and then some of them I was like, this is stupid and I love it. I'm feeling good, my camera's charged, so without further ado, grab a drink, grab a snack, and buckle up while we go through all 11 books that I read in May. First up is one of my most anticipated reads of this year that Raincoast lovingly sent me. Y'all are a real one. I got an advance copy of Book of Night by Holly Black. As soon as I opened this book, I felt like something shifted in me, like the stars aligned perfectly to bring me something that was going to sink its teeth into me. If you are going into this thinking that it's gonna be anything like Cool Prince, it is not. This is Ninth House meets Vicious. This is all about shadows and lies and misdirections and conning people and just vibes. This is Holly Black's adult debut that takes place in a alternative reality where there are shadow mages and shadow magic, and you can awaken and quicken your shadow, and the more blood you feed it, the more alive it becomes. And our main character, Charlie, is a con artist who gets dragged into the black market of shadow magic. She draws and then drags you into this world of shadow stealers and glooms and glow mists. This is by far her best writing. It's tricky and mysterious without being pretentious. That being said, I think there was a couple of side plots that could have been developed a little bit more, and an alternate title to this book would be Charlie Hall Hides Behind Things. But overall, I fucking love this book, and I'm trying so hard to restrain myself from buying all of the special foiled special editions. The second book I finished this month was The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O, and I had such a wonderful time reading this. This is about a girl named Mina who lives in a seaside village that is constantly ravaged by storms, and once every couple of years a girl from the village is sacrificed to the sea god in hopes that the storms will calm, and this year Mina sacrifices herself to help save her brother's beloved. But instead of dying, she is taken to the realm of the dead, where she finds out that the sea god himself is actually under a curse, and so she teams up with a couple of spirits as well as a handsome boy named Shin to be able to break the curse upon him and send her back to her own world. This world building is so lovely. It is vibrant and full of love and full of life and color, and like a soulmate trope I don't hate. It's more likely than you think. I give Axie O a round of applause because this plot never went where I was expecting it to, in a very good way, and I thought that was so cool that it kept me guessing the entire time. Okay, our side character Namgi, I love him. He's so freaking funny. He deserves his own series. There are these like disgraced demon princes and like super funny little fantastical spirits, and then not me crying at my desk finishing this at work like, what? No, I'm a full adult who has full control over her emotions in public places. This is the most stereotypical happy ending YA book that I've read in a long time, but like if you want a whimsical kind of Studio Ghibli-esque book, I would highly recommend this. And then a book that I mentioned in one of my previous videos as being aggressively mediocre, it was I Kissed a Girl by Jeanette Alexander, and I stand by my original assessment. This is an adult sapphic rom-com about two girls, and one a makeup artist and one a B-list movie actor, who meet on set and fall in love, and it was cute. I will give it that. It was cute. First of all, that is a terrible title and cover for a dinosaur horror movie queer girl rom-com. What the hell? As somebody that used to be in showbiz as a background actor and as a model, I totally understand and love seeing the behind the scenes of any kind of production. So like, yep, it's a hurry up and wait, and yes, we're gonna cover you in lube to make you look sweaty. It was very predictable, but like it was cute. So, you know, I'm not overwhelmed, I'm not underwhelmed. I'm just whelmed. But something this book taught me is that I'm a beautiful bisexual butterfly, and none of you can convince me otherwise. So after finishing I Kissed a Girl, I went into a full rom-com rampage, so the next couple are going to reflect that. I let myself be influenced by everybody on TikTok that was recommending Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Oh god, I just blew my own retinas out looking at this in my viewfinder. This is an aggressive blue. This is about enemies to lovers Nora, a literary agent, and Charlie, a book editor, as they butt heads and then have to work on a book together and fall in love in the small town that Nora's sister has taken the two of them for the summer. Everyone is saying this is the book for older sisters, and I totally understand. Nora would do anything for her younger sister Libby, and it's a really sweet family dynamic. And even though I am an only child, I see a lot of similarities between myself and Nora, like respect the checklist. I have the same critique about Charlie as I did about Alex in People We Meet on Vacation, is that Emily Henry's male love interests are coded neurodivergent, like to a T. And I'm just like, I don't know if she's doing it on purpose or not. Speaking of Charlie, we love a man who knows how to dress well and wears a lot of black. And eyebrows? Whew, eyebrows are sexy as hell. What a very underrated feature. I appreciate Emily Henry for drawing attention to that. It has such lovely and sweet family themes about trying to do all you can for the people that love you, but also breaking away and becoming your own person, and yet also doing anything for the people that you love. And as I am both an editor and newly single, if there are any like publicists or literary agents out there that like want to make this a thing, hit me up. Another one on the rom-com train I just finished last night that was a wonderful ode to fan fiction and fandom everywhere was Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade. My friend Megan, aka Maisie Patrick, aka Maisie Writes, really recommended this book, and this was so fun. This follows our two main characters, Marcus, who is an actor on a very highbrow Roman-inspired TV show that has just finished wrapping its final season, and our other main character, April, who is a huge writer in the fanfiction community for this show called Gods of the Gates. What she doesn't know is that Marcus has actually been undercover writing fanfiction for the same show that he is on, and they've been online friends for years. When April posts a picture of herself online cosplaying one of the characters of the show, Marcus sees it and asks her out on a date, and the two of them are trying to balance a new relationship while also April suddenly being in the public eye, and the idea that Marcus knows a lot more about her than she knows him. This is a love letter to every fan who has felt spurned by a book to movie adaptation that came out shitty. There is some Game of Thrones shade happening in this book, and it makes me really happy. The mix of mediums in here, not only regular pages, but also text messages and scripts and message boards and pieces of fan fiction, were a really cool way to like help engage the reader while also not info dumping. Every few chapters there's like a page or two of a script that Marcus has worked on, and let me tell you, if you think any of them are stupid and outlandish, in my experience as an actor, that's exactly what some scripts look like. And I really appreciate the reference to the most well-done film in cinematic history of this generation, Sharknado. This is Geekarella for adults. Like, if you liked this book, you're gonna like this book. I thought it was very cute. It's not super spicy, so like this is a good maybe like introduction into regular adult romance, and like it was very fun and cute and fast. Rachel, are we done with rom-coms yet? We sure aren't, baby, because I read my one YA contemporary of this year. I got sent an advance copy of I Kissed Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston from Raincoast. Again, I love you guys. This is Casey McQuiston's long-awaited, highly anticipated YA debut, and I thought she did pretty good. Our main character, Chloe, has been in a rivalry with the blonde, perfect, vanilla and mint-scented Shara Wheeler from the first time that she ever came to this very prestigious Christian academy when she herself is not religious. But the day after Shara corners her in an elevator and kisses her, Shara goes missing, and so she is stuck with Shara's boyfriend and also her ex-best friend, as the three of them all try to figure out where she went, with clues Shara left behind in these pink scented envelopes. And like, damn, this was a better scavenger hunt than I ever got at Sleepaway Camp. It is quirky and snappy and quippy and engaging and just full of gay healing. This has such a beautiful through line of being exactly who you are and knowing that no matter how you feel right now, there will always be hope. No matter who you are or how you feel, it will always be okay to just be you, even if your environment is saying that it's not right. My big critique is that it didn't have this smooth plot that Red, White, and Royal Blue or One Last Stop had. And our main character was a little insufferable, and I want to say something very specific. So the timestamp that you could skip to if you don't want spoilers will be here. My spoilery thought is, what was the thesis of this book supposed to be, other than what I just mentioned about like it being okay to be yourself? Because Chloe's obsession with Shara, it was an obsession, was not healthy, and like screaming at each other is not healthy, and like manipulation on Shara's part is not a healthy relationship. Like I get Chloe wanting to like beat Shara and like take her place as valedictorian, but the romance, I just wasn't sure about it. So I have some complicated feelings on this. And then a book that I found on the Wild West of Kindle Unlimited that I saw my friend Deirdre from Deirdre Rose Morgan rec was Not My Type by Evie Mitchell, an all-access novel. This is a kinky romance novel surrounding rope play and with our main character being wheelchair-bound. Bound. Frankie is a sexologist with a podcast all about disability, and she wants to find and talk to somebody about sex and disability, which is where Jay comes in, who is a rope expert, and the two of them talk for the podcast, but then eventually fall in love and break down each other's barriers. I really enjoyed there being a book on accessible kink. It was short, it was quick, there was fluff, there was spice, it had great commentary on being disabled and how the world is not meant for people who are not able-bodied, but a lot of the side characters were very one-dimensional, and I have never read a man so obviously written by a woman in my entire life. Also, this plot is explained to the reader in a really weird way. Like, the characters speak all of their inner thoughts out loud, and while of course everyone's disability comes into play in their own body in a different way, I found it very convenient that Frankie's spine injury affected every area of her body below her ribs except for a very, very specific point. And honestly, you go girl, good for you and your nervous system. I feel like this book was okay, but I don't think I'm gonna be reading any of her other ones. And now for a series of books that I did not think I was going to have as much fun reading as I did, I read the first and second of the Court of Guilt and Shadow series, the first one being Within Obsession and Lies, and the second being Through Illusions and Deceit by Stacey Jones and Harper Wilde. With Book Talk's obsession with spicy books, I am very shocked that I have not seen these before. Like, these were bangers, like no pun intended. These are a new adult urban fantasy with our main character Arwen being a girl with mystical powers that she doesn't know how to control, and 3 supernatural men that come into her life that are there to help her control her powers and unlock things about this fairy world. I actually really liked what the authors did with this, where every supernatural creature like vampires or mermaids or demons is an offshoot of a kind of fairy that has been banished to the human world, and their powers are slowly waning. So, you know, deathly mermaids are not actually mermaids, they're disgraced water folk. So like, I thought that was kind of cool. And I also super enjoyed this being a poly foursome with 3 unstable men with the voices of phone sex operators. Hands down, Viper is my favorite. He's so funny, and like, I love a goofball that could kill you at any moment, and like, he's only a little bit of a psychopath, you know, no one's perfect. This book is super funny. I found myself laughing out loud multiple times. The only thing that did kind of pull me out, no pun intended, the main character is constantly being referred to like she's a minx, she's a vixen, she's a temptress, and I'm like, all right, like, relax. Now this is going to be a trilogy, but only the first 2 are out, and the second one is just sexier and bloodier, and a lot more things are on fire. Damn, how dare I feel so many things for so many men at once? That seems unrealistic. I'm trying to make it so that men can't have anything, and these 3 men are making that really hard. While of course the sexy times were played up a lot, none of them ever felt super out of place. They were all, or most of them were like very emotionally charged, but also like fun. And I'm so impressed. I will warn you, it's a real bad dragon situation going on, if you know what I mean. Mom, please don't Google that. Okay, I'm on a roll. I still have energy. My camera battery is still going strong. And I only have 2 books left. Oh my god, how did we get here? All right, second last is one that I have seen wrecked across TikTok, of course, because that's where I get the majority of my media and friendship nowadays. The two champions, I guess, of this book are Kirsten at Choose Love Books and Johnny from Johnny Pixel 7, so go give them some love. And that is A Marvelous Light by Freya Marska. This is a magical Edwardian murder mystery, but it's gay! That follow a newly appointed admin officer and a magical magician liaison that work for the secret service of magical people. As the two of them team up to find out how the liaison's previous partner went missing, and then the two of them stumble into this magical conspiracy. Maybe I just got too hyped up about this. Maybe I saw it too many places, because I liked it, but not as much as I thought I would. It was slow to start, and there were a couple of instances that felt out of place. What really threw me were some of the language choices. So it's very lovely prose, but every once in a while, the author would throw in a fairly crass word, and like, it's an adult fantasy, there are sex scenes in this, but I just felt like it was a bit of a shock every time. Not that it's a bad word, but like the word didn't thematically match with the rest of the story, if that makes sense. Although I have never felt so seen as when the author described Edwin as underpigmented. And the whole first third of it is just the two of them going, are you gay? Yeah, I'm fucking gay, are you gay? Yes, bitch. And like get you a partner that makes you feel like a good railway accident. And what I did really appreciate about the sex scenes is that they were not perfect. They were awkward and they were messy, and it's just so much more realistic. Trying to figure each other out while also figuring out a mystery and figuring out what the two of them mean to each other and figuring out their own lives. It emphasized the anxiety of falling in love while still closeted and knowing that there are so many things that will try and keep you apart. And just the way that they like go about it and the way this book ended, it just made me so happy. And lastly is a book that I've had for more than a calendar year at this point. But my love for Greek retellings has resurfaced once again due to a combination of my Greek tragedies class, my Roman art and architecture class, and the fact that I saw Sadie Reeds on TikTok say that she was reading it. I saw Sadie Reeds read Ariadne by Jennifer Saint, so I had to read Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. This is a feminist retelling of the women of the story of Theseus and the Labyrinth and the Minotaur, where Ariadne was the daughter of King Minos, who gave Theseus the golden thread to allow him to find his way in the labyrinth, and her younger sister Phaedra, who has her own fate tangled with Theseus, and later in the myth of Hippolytus. This has gorgeous writing. It is so lovely and rich, and it really does feel like someone has sat you down and is telling you a legendary story. It really shows the struggles and machinations of the women of ancient Greece and really focuses on the themes and expectations of motherhood and how women had to manipulate their way into political roles. What we tend to do nowadays, especially in the West, is that we romanticize the idea of like capital G God, like a singular God that is good and holy, whereas the gods of ancient Greece and Rome were more like reflections or representations of humanity, and they had their own strengths and weaknesses. They were not meant to be purely good. They were these all-powerful, very fickle beings that constantly needed worship and sacrifice to be able to live alongside them. And this really dives into the tough choices that gods will make you make, especially with Ariadne and Dionysus, and then later with Theseus and Hera. If you liked Song of Achilles, if you like Circe, this is next up on your reading list for sure. Oh my god, I went to reach for another one, and that's it. I'm done. I think my hair has just slowly been falling out of whatever this hairstyle is. That's okay, I guess. It's been so nice to have the mental energy to just speed run books lately, and I'm still like riding that wave, which is good because there are like 5 books coming out in June that I all really, really want, and it'll be my birthday, so I can justify it to myself. We just won't tell my existing TBR pile. I also found out today that I can hear people when they talk loudly in the apartment next to me, so pretty sure my neighbors, if they're home, can hear everything I'm saying. So that's okay, they're gonna get some good book recommendations out of it. Thank you all for being here. Please leave down below if you yourself have read any of these things and want to talk about it, want to fangirl. And if you haven't already, I would super appreciate you subscribing either here or on TikTok at the same username, AModelWho'sRead, because during Pride Month, I plan to post a whole lot of very queer book recommendations and queer videos, and I'm excited. I'm gonna break out my rainbow eyeshadow palette. I'm gonna do it. You know where to click like the video. You know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!